Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to have you here today. I'm Mark Kobe, Producing Artistic Director at Paper Mill Playhouse. And I'm joined by our Managing Director, Mike Stotts, for our season announcement. We want to begin just by thanking all of our subscribers, all of you, for sticking with us through this unusual and unprecedented year. We've had a great time providing you with digital content and reaching out in a variety of ways via the internet, but we are so excited to be announcing our upcoming season, which will be back in the theater in person, because we've been missing all of you. And in fact, theater is just not theater without an audience, without all of you. So Mike would just like to say a few words, and then we'll get to the season announcement. Mike?
Great, thank you, Mark, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Let me first start by thanking all of you for your really tremendous support this last year, whether it has been donating back tickets or subscribing to our virtual season. Truly, we could not have made it without all of your support, both financially and morally. It really was very important to us to hear from our subscribers. Just a few announcements before we start. This is a recorded Zoom, so just be forewarned of that. We will be taking questions, and please put your questions in the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen. We are having that monitored, and Mark and I will receive the questions from the folks that are looking at that. Just a couple of other things that are going on before we announce our season. Many of you have already heard about our Bridge Fund. And for those of you who have already contributed to it, thank you so much. This is a fund that we created to help us bridge from this year into our reopening next year, anticipating continued financial challenges until we really get back up on our feet again. And so it's called out on the renewal materials that you'll be sent. And if you can contribute, we'd be greatly appreciative. We are reopening the restaurant and cabaret on June 9th. So many of you participated last year in our Brookside Cabaret, and we're happy to be reintroducing that this season. And our gala is on June 4th. So if you have any interest in participating in a virtual gala, this is our first and hopefully last virtual gala. And we look forward to having as many participants as possible. Now, I'd like to acknowledge the support of Investors Bank. They have been our season sponsor for many a year now and are the season sponsor of the virtual season and the season we're about to announce. And here's Mark Kobe to do that.
Yes, so Chris, Mike and I will turn off our video cameras, and if you could go to the title slide. So Paper Mill will open its 2021-2022 season with Songs for a New World, the groundbreaking musical that put Tony Award-winning composer-lyricist Jason Robert Brown on the map. It will run from October 13th through November 7th. From the deck of a Spanish sailing ship bound for a new land to the ledge of a Fifth Avenue penthouse, Songs for a New World transports audiences through time to meet a startling array of characters on the brink of life-changing decisions. Brown wrote Honeymoon in Vegas, Parade, The Bridges of Madison County, and he weaves these stories together in a powerful collection of songs that examine life, love, and the choices we make. Carolyn Cantor will be the director. Next up, Paper Mill brings audiences a delightful show for the entire family, A Jolly Holiday with Disney on Broadway. This will run from December 1st through January 2nd. Some of Broadway's brightest stars will perform hits from Disney's biggest Broadway shows in this festive concert. Enjoy your favorite songs from The Lion King, Tarzan, Mary Poppins, Aladdin, Hercules, The Little Mermaid, Newsies, Beauty and the Beast, Aida, High School Musical, Freaky Friday, and Frozen. Like Mary Poppins herself, this show is guaranteed to make your heart feel light. Next up, Murder and Blackmail are back on the menu with Clue, which will run from January 26th through February 20th. Clue gets its paper mill production after a postponement from the fall of 2020. Casey Hushin directs this hilarious farce meets murder mystery based on the cult 1985 Paramount movie and inspired by the classic Hasbro game. Was it Mrs. Peacock in the study with the knife or Colonel Mustard in the library with the wrench? One of America's most treasured pieces of pop culture comes to the stage in a production that will leave you dying of laughter. The season continues with the long-awaited world premiere musical, The Wanderer, rescheduled from our 2019-2020 season, directed by Kenneth Ferrone and choreographed by Sarah Ogliebe. It will run from March 24th through April 24th. This new musical, based on the life of rock and roll Hall of Famer Dion DiMucci, an Italian-American kid from the Bronx who skyrocketed to fame as a teenage heartthrob in the 50s and early 60s, with hits like Run Around Sue, Teenager in Love, and I Wonder Why. His extraordinary journey comes to the stage in a moving and intimate new musical about a life lived in the glow of the spotlight and in the shadow of addiction. The Wanderer is the riveting true story of New York's rebel king, the man Bruce Springsteen calls the link between Frank Sinatra and rock and roll. And finally, the sisters will sing when Sister Act takes the stage from June 1st to June 26th, after a postponement from the spring of 2020. Sister Act is based on the 1992 hit film. This feel-good musical comedy sizzles with powerful music, spectacular dancing, and a story that's guaranteed to lift your spirits. The madcap plot is set in motion when disco diva Dolores Van Cartier witnesses a murder and must go into hiding in a convent, where she helps her fellow sisters find their voices as she unexpectedly rediscovers her own. Featuring original music by Tony and 8-time Oscar winner Alan Menken, Sister Act was nominated for 5 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. So that's our season. Songs for a New World, A Jolly Holiday with Disney on Broadway, Clue, The Wanderer, and Sister Act. Mike, we're back.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mark. It is so exciting to be talking about shows that we're actually going to do live and in person starting in October. So I know that some questions have already been posted around some of the safety precautions that Paper Mill is taking. So let me share with you what we know now, but please understand that this is going to be ever evolving over the next few months. And at the time that we reopen in October, we'll be following the best guidance that is available from our medical advisors and CDC officials. We have done that all along this year, including the Brookside Cabaret last year and this year. And because it's a very fluid sort of moment right now, please bear with us as we all learn how things start to open up. So determinations have not 100% been made, but we are looking at the possibility of social distancing in the theater. And the first couple of shows in particular have that in mind. They're smaller in scale, so that on a financial basis, they make sense if indeed we have to have social distancing in the theater. We're unsure if that will be the case. If it's not, then subscribers can will renew into their usual seats. But if we are required to social distance, or even make the determination ourselves that it would be better off for us to have social distancing for the beginning shows, that subscribers would not automatically get their subscriber seats. And as the season progresses, you will never permanently lose those seats. Let me just say that up front, that your seats will be held until the 2022-23 season, in the event subscribers are not fully comfortable coming back to the theater next season. However, we do encourage you to subscribe now, and as the season progresses, we will be informing you of all the steps that we're taking with regard to social distancing. We are not at this point certain about the requirement of masks. Certainly the news last week did surprise us, and we will see what the best guidance is with regard to masks at the time that we open. With regard to vaccinations, we are fairly certain that everyone on stage and backstage or associated with the theater will have to be vaccinated. With audience members, the determination has not yet been made. Again, we will look for the best guidance on that next fall. There are many theaters that are going to be opening up before us, the summer theaters, and of course in the fall, I think you're going to start to see all the other theaters, including Broadway, open up, and we will again look for the best guidance with regard to the vaccinations at that time. We are looking at investigating contactless ticketing, so you can look forward to that, and there will be more details sent to you on how that's going to work, but it'll largely work through your mobile device. We have made some improvements to our ventilation systems, and those will be ongoing. Again, as we start to reopen, we'll follow the best guidance with regard to our lobbies and the interior of the house, but we've already done a fair amount of work with regard to filters, and we're now looking at the amount of air that is coming into the building, and we'll be making whatever appropriate amendments to our system that are required before we have audiences. And our cleaning protocols will continue. We have a very vigorous and rigorous cleaning schedule backstage, on stage, and in the house and our lobbies. So you can be assured that we will make sure that we are creating a very safe environment for audiences to come back to the theater. With regard to how to renew, right now, all renewal forms are at the mail house, and you will be receiving them in the mail within the next few days. If you wanted to renew today, you can certainly do so by going to our website or calling our box office at 973-671-4355. Again, that's 973-671-4355. If you happen to have credits from either tickets that you had for a previous show or season prior, as we were getting locked down, those have been automatically been applied to your subscription renewal form. And so you will not have to do the math on that. We've done it for you. If you are unwilling or not ready to come back to the theater in the fall, there will be opportunities as the season progresses to renew for, first of all, for 5 shows, which we're doing today, 4 and 3 as the season progresses, so that we're acknowledging that some folks are probably not going to want to come immediately, but we will work with everyone in terms of the appropriate time for you to come back to the theater. And finally, again, just to talk about the capacity limits, right now, theaters are still limited. I'm assuming that by the fall, even if the full capacity limits are lifted, we will discuss among ourselves and through surveying of our audiences, which we've been doing all season, we will come up with the best solution for us to either enact social distancing or not as we start to reopen. So that's officially the program. I know that there are lots of questions in the Q&A, and we have Holly Abelow, our Director of Marketing and Communications, monitoring that. So Holly, do you want to let us know what some of the questions are?
So there are a lot of questions about if they had a subscription the year before last, but didn't buy into the digital, will they have their seats? And then the second part, there's a question about if they only renewed one subscription because they were alone during COVID for the digital subscription, what happens to their companion seats?
I'm going to take a stab at that. So if you had renewed your subscription and did not either ask for a refund, as some subscribers did, or if you did not ask for a credit, as some subscribers did, then we are holding the dollar amount as a credit.
No, I'm sorry, Mike, the question's actually not about the credit, it's about the seat locations. And the answer is, regardless of whether or not you bought a digital subscription, you'll be given the physical ticket from the year before. And that includes companion seats that weren't purchased for the digital subscription.
Okay.
They're asking if they have to call to be socially distanced, or if that will just happen.
Well, the theater will make a determination on that as we get closer to opening. So I would not call about that at this time. We will make a determination probably in August. Again, I'm speaking sort of out of turn here, but I'm assuming in August we will notify everyone of what the social distancing requirements are at that time and start to do some seating based on that, if it's required.
There's another question here about if they want to buy a 5-show subscription, but they're not ready to come back to the theater, will they be able to watch shows virtually?
Our hope is yes. Again, we're in the process right now of, we've been doing the digital presentation of our current season, and we are in conversation right now with a digital partner and also with our unions to try and provide a streaming option for people who are either ill or not willing or able to come back in the fall. And there'll be more information about that as we get closer to the season opening as well.
And there's another question about whether or not we can keep couples together that have been coming to the theater together for 40 years. This particular one's 40 years they've been coming together.
Yes, the answer to that is yes.
I think
absolutely.
if people are purchasing their subscriptions to
renew your subscriptions as you have, and we will absolutely keep everyone in their seats. If there is social distancing, we've already talked about how those couples would remain a pod, if you will, and be able to seat them together. So we're trying to take into consideration all scenarios for how various subscribers subscribe to the theater.
Other questions, Holly?
I'm just going to scan.
It's Chris here.
Hi, Chris.
I saw a question about casting. Someone's wondering if any of the shows have been cast. Mark, do you want to talk to that?
Well, working backwards, we are very excited that the cast that was announced for The Wanderer, the principals, will be returning. So Michael Wartella, who was cast to play the role of Dion, who appeared in Chasing Rainbows for us, will be returning. Christy Altamar, who played Anastasia on Broadway, will be returning as Susan, his wife. And also Joey McIntyre, who appeared in Waitress on Broadway and is from the group New Kids on the Block, will be playing Johnny. So those will be announced. You'll see those in the news. And we will be inviting back a lot of the cast for both that show and Sister Act, which was actually in rehearsal when we had to shut down.
Okay, I'm scanning the questions right now, the Q&A. So let me just call out a few of the questions that are there and try to answer them. So what will the subscription cost? The subscription prices have remained as they were pre-pandemic. So you will receive renewals for whatever the price of the subscription was for the night that you typically attend, based on the price that was pre-pandemic. At this point, there are no choices between live versus virtual. We're renewing everyone into as if they're coming live. And if there is a streaming version, which we are hoping there will be, as Mark just said, that will be made available to our subscribers if in the event that someone can't attend the theater. There's a comment here about rather than social distancing, how about requiring proof of vaccination or recent negative test? We are considering that, absolutely. That is something that most of us in our colleagues in the theater are actually looking at that. If I have a disabled subscriber, if you need to change our subscription, we will have to work with subscribers to make sure that any kind of special needs for seating are taken care of if we have to reseat folks from the seats that they normally have. Again, would you consider hybrid attendance? That will be up to the audience member. We're renewing everyone into live seats. And then it will be up to each subscriber as to whether or not they want to attend in person or if they want to watch it virtually. Can we buy tickets for friends? At first, we're trying to just get everyone renewed, all of our subscribers renewed, but there will be options to purchase additional tickets once we have done that. So it's usually a subscription benefit that you can buy additional tickets at a discount. And once we have everyone renewed, we'll have a better sense of the availability of tickets to be able to make them available to your friends. If you're going to limit people to the theater, will subscribers have first preference? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. All of our plans have been centered around subscribers first. So if we have social distancing, all of the subscribers will be sat first, and we will probably not sell additional single tickets. If we're able to do accommodate more people and get close to 100% of capacity, then we'll start taking care of other audiences. But subscribers should know that you are first and foremost on our priority list. Will you get a seat for each show, or will there be a lottery for seats? There will not be a lottery. We have calculated all of our budgets and plans based on the number of subscribers we had pre-pandemic, assuming a certain renewal rate, which would be typical for the theater. And we've actually discounted that a little bit, assuming that this has been a very rough year for everyone, and there might be some folks that don't renew automatically and take more time. But please know that we have made all of our plans based on satisfying our subscribers first. And again, and we'll seat you all on a priority basis. Are there any other questions? I think I got most of them from the Q&A. The chaos of entering the lobby. Yes, we know that we have a constrained lobby, and we are working out some social distancing plans for that. This may or may not include timed arrivals. I will say this, that the first 3 shows have been programmed without intermissions. Now, if we're able to put an intermission in especially the second show, then we may do that. But the way the season has been designed is to start small, and both in terms of the shows on stage and in terms of how we deal with audience members. So limiting concessions, or maybe not having concessions at all, limiting the intermissions, perhaps doing timed arrivals. That's not 100% yet. But looking at how we bring people in a very organized manner, and how we execute an exit in a very organized manner. Those are being considered right now. Again, the science and the guidance on that may change by the fall, and we will certainly look to our peer theaters as well in terms of how they're handling audiences in constrained settings.
There's one other question about the socially distanced scenario. If that happens, our goal would be, since we cannot get you into the exact seat that you purchased, to get you as close to the location as you are used to sitting, respecting whatever social distancing is in place at that time. But again, it's a little premature for us to get too far into the weeds about this, because even last week things have changed drastically. There'll be more information coming to you about that as we get closer to our opening date in October. Well, I think we can wind it up, Mike.
Yes. If there are any questions that did not get answered, in fact, I just see a couple here that I'm just going to respond to. This is the season that we just announced is not the exact season that got canceled. It's a bit of a hybrid. Clue, Sister Act, and The Wanderer were all shows that were either programmed, and in fact, we were in the middle of a season that included Sister Act and The Wanderer, and then we'd announced Clue for the following season. Not all shows that we had announced made sense or were even available for the new season that is coming up. There are a lot of complications in terms of developing a season, including artist availability, etc. But also, as I just said, we've been very mindful about what the opening shows should be and want to make sure that we start in a very sensible way and grow from there. And if we had a large show to begin the season, that would be very, very difficult to accommodate certain COVID restrictions if we have to in the fall. I think if there are any other questions, please, you can send them in to us via email. You can certainly talk to any of our box office representatives about it. The materials that you're being sent will have more information. And again, thank you all so much for your absolutely unwavering support this last very, very difficult year. We're so much looking forward to having our whole team back to produce a season for you in the fall.
We look forward to seeing you back here in Millburn on campus and in the theater. Thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you very, very soon. Have a great day.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.